Hey everybody, what's going on? It is James here with Crypto Common Sense. I wanted to sit down today and shoot a bit of a video. This is kind of an off-the-cuff video. I got some stuff to talk about, some things to share with you all, and hopefully something that will make a positive impact on your life. So the first thing I want to talk about is markets in general and really investments, kind of bigger picture investment type of stuff. A lot of people ask me sometimes, when they find out I trade and I talk about, doing this for the last 6 or so years. I'm almost 41 years old. So it's like, why did you wait till your 30s to get started in this? And how much experience did you have ahead of time? I think sometimes people think, well, James is successful with trading because he probably was in the markets for like 20 years and probably already had some idea of what he was doing. I had no idea what I was doing. I had never bought a stock in my life before 2018. I started trading cryptocurrency in 2017, but I had never bought a stock before 2018. And the reason for that is because I'm an entrepreneur. I've always been an entrepreneur ever since I was a kid. When I was 13 years old, I started my first business mowing lawns. I went out, I don't remember if it was $2 a week or $5 a week. I got $2 at one point, but I think when I started the business, I was getting $5 a week allowance. And so you're talking about early 90s. I saved my allowance. I bought a lawnmower and I had some flyers printed with a neighbor of mine. And we went out there, walked all around the town that we lived in, which was a small town of about 10,000 people, put flyers on doors and ended up getting 8 lawns. So I had a lawn mowing business that we took care of 8 lawns and we made about $80 a week that we split. But again, like 13 years old, was super happy about it. So I've always been in some kind of entrepreneurial pursuit. And when I was in my late 20s, I left my last job and became a full-time entrepreneur where I was, doing some fairly big numbers. I mean, not huge. I wasn't like making millions and millions, but I was making 6 figures a year. And I never looked at trading or at investing because I created software. So what I would do is I didn't know how to code. I knew like little bits and pieces, but I couldn't code anything that I could sell. So what I would do is I would pay people. I would hire developers to create software. And a lot of times I could get software created for, under $10,000 that I could go out there and make $100,000, $200,000 on. And so in my mind, I was like, why would I ever put money in the stock market, which gets like 8 or 10% a year, when I could take that same money and 10x it? That was my thought process. I was never interested in trading or stocks at all during that period because it made no sense to me. For example, one of the last software products I did before I started trading was a software product that made ads. It was a Facebook ads tool that people could use to make Facebook ads. So marketers who were doing online marketing and online advertising and things like that. And that tool cost me nothing to make. I had a guy who'd been working for me for several years, and I partnered with him on it. And I could have paid him cash. I mean, a couple $1,000 probably to give it me, but he had done a lot for me and I wanted to kind of give back to him. So I said, hey, on this one, why don't we just partner and I'll give you, I believe it was 10% or 25%. I can't remember now. It might have been 25%. We'll say 25 to be safe. So let's say I gave him 25%. So he made this software for me. I went out and literally that software made like $48,000 its first month. You know what I mean? So again, it's kind of like, why would you get into trading and investing when you can make all that money with software? So I was never like into this stuff at all. Never looked at charts, didn't understand technical analysis. When I got into cryptocurrency in 2017, I knew nothing about TA. I didn't even know what TA meant. And what I was doing at first when I was quote unquote day trading, I was just looking at the charts and I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, but I would look at like these 5-minute charts. Again, we were talking about crypto back then, and I would just be like, it looks like it's going to go up. And I would just randomly try to guess, but I wasn't using stop losses. I didn't know what a stop loss was. And of course, because it was 2017, everything was going up. And so when I was wrong, what I would do is I would just wait until I was right. And I remember telling my wife, I love this trading stuff because it's like bowling with bumper guards. If you're right, you make money. And if you're wrong, you just wait and it goes back up. We all know, of course, that's not really how markets work, but I was naive and that's what it seemed like. And then I think it was June or July, the market had like correction. And of course, it made me wake up and realize, oh gosh, it's not quite as easy as I thought it was. And this is like 2017 still. And so that led me to learning a little bit of TA. And then the first, 3 to 6 months, again, bull market, raging bull market. We'll look at Bitcoin. I'll explain all this to you, kind of explain this journey. And some of this is probably going to resonate with some people watching this. Like, oh man, I do that right now. So I learned about RSI. And so in a bull market, of course, RSI doesn't tend to stay oversold very long. So I was like, oh gosh, every time it goes oversold, I can just buy this asset and it'll go right back up, which actually works pretty well in a bull market, believe it or not. Unfortunately, when the market turns into bear, it's a different story, and it turns into downtrends and things like that. So that was kind of the next step in the evolution. And then I learned about divergences, and I was like, oh gosh, okay, so just oversold or overbought's not enough, but if a divergence forms up, okay, that's enough. And so then I was trading divergences, and that actually didn't work too bad. That was actually a lot better than just the RSI, like just overbought and oversold. Then I went into, hey, I realized that if I trade divergences that also have big wicks or big tails, that helps even more. And then that became, if I trade divergences that have big wicks or big tails that are also testing support or resistance, that helps even more. And over time, what happened was I realized, oh wow, I can make more money in the market than I can in business. And that was the kind of like the light bulb moment. So in December of 2017, I gave my business away. And some people are like, what do you mean you gave it away? Well, I had a guy who had been working for me for a couple of years. Originally, I brought him on to do project management. And then, originally I hired him to do graphic design because that's what his degree was in. And then he was just really good and really smart guy, fun to talk to, really enjoyed having conversations with business about him and everything. So then I made him a project manager. He did a couple of projects for me where he managed the stuff, managed my programmers, managed the whole 9 yards. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. I told him this. I was like, dude, you're like my Mrs. Potts. If you've ever seen Iron Man, you'll get that reference. And so then I was like, why don't we just partner, and you can, basically walk into an established business that's already producing, really good income, really good revenue. And, here's how it's going to work. I'm going to give you 50% of everything, but you're going to do all the work. And he was ecstatic because obviously he was walking into a business that was already doing well. I was happy because I basically retired. That's basically what happened. I was 34 years old when I brought him on. And so then my workload became about 5 hours a week. That's how much I worked. It's like literally an hour a day, like Monday through Friday. And Sam, my partner, ran everything. And then I just kind of got bored. And I'm getting off track. I'll explain that in a second. So anyway, in December 2017, what I did was I told Sam, I said, hey, I don't want to do this business anymore. I don't want it stealing focus. It wasn't taking time, but it was taking focus away from trading. And so I said, I'm just going to give you everything and, basically good luck. And he was like, wow, I appreciate that. And then he went and did his thing with it. So how did I get into trading? How did I get into crypto? Long story short, I was bored because Sam was running everything. I was only working a couple hours a week. Took a local class on programming, which I'd always wanted to learn how to program for real. So I took a local class, like an in-person class. Some people in that class were talking about cryptocurrency, and I was like, oh yeah, I looked at mining that back in 2011. It was like $9 a coin, and they're like, oh man, don't look what it is now because you're going to be sick. And it was like $700 or $800. I was like, oh my gosh. And I looked at mining it in 2011 and didn't do it because I thought it was a scam. I didn't see how anybody would pay for this fake coin. I looked at doing it again in 2014. There's actually a post on my Facebook where I literally said I've been bitten by the Bitcoin mining bug. But then I went through a really rough patch with my wife where we actually separated for a small amount of time. I actually moved into an apartment for a few months, and all my computer gear and all my graphics cards and everything was at my house. I was living in this apartment with my Mac and basically a chair and a mattress. And so when I moved back home, my focus was not on Bitcoin anymore. My focus was really on my family and what had happened up to that point. I was working like 80 and 100 hours a week on my businesses and just neglecting my family, right? So changed all that back then. But so that kind of got me interested in crypto again. That's what got me into it. And then, from there, it's kind of the rest is history, like I said. But with all this trading stuff, the reason I'm telling you this story is because, again, I'm hoping this resonates with some of you. You're like, wow, okay, yeah, You know, I kind of do that with RSI now, or I did do that with RSI. Or in your case, it might be MACD, or it might be a Bollinger Band, or whatever, like simplistic strategy that you've come across. I think that's where a lot of people start. And then if they're not getting the results that they want to get, you know, maybe it's going good during the bull, but then you change the bear and it's like, oh, I guess I don't know what I'm doing. Listen, you're on the right track. You may not realize it. You may not have a lot of confidence right now. Your ego may be bruised. You may be feeling like, gosh, I can't do this. But you're absolutely on the right track. The more you do it and the more you trade and the more you look at these charts, the more it all starts to look the same over and over and over again. The exact same patterns are repeating. You're seeing it. You're not going to be right 100% of the time, but you're going to find, if you stick with it and hone your craft, you can become very, very good, right? What happens with most people is they want to become very good without really putting in the legwork. They want to become very good looking at a chart 5 minutes a week or an hour a week or whatever. And you can actually do that too. You can actually make a living trading an hour a week if you get good. But when you're first starting out, the more time you can spend on charts, the more time you can go through it, the better it is. And a lot of people will say, well, you know, I have day jobs or I have a business. I just can't do it while the market is moving. This is how most people are. Like, I forget, I've been self-employed so long and doing this stuff so long that it sometimes is lost on me that most people can't just sit down at, you know, 8:30 in the morning Central Time or 9:30 Eastern Time, whatever, and just day trade for 2 hours. And so you've got to kind of trade around your schedule. And I forget that. I'm really bad about forgetting that. I don't mean to be. It's just because it's been so long for me, it just slips my mind, right? It really does. And there's other struggles. So it's not like bragging, like, oh, look how lucky I am. I am lucky. I'm fortunate. I'm blessed, whatever you want to call it. But there's other struggles. Like, it's pros and cons to everything. So I'm not like, oh, my life is so amazing. It's better than yours. Yours might be better than mine in many ways. But it did make me think, like I said, about, you know, the not being able to day trade and stuff like that. So what you can do, you know, like if you're not day trading and you can't sit down and day trade, there's nothing that says that you can't, like, go to a stock chart, for example. Let's say the QQQ. All right, there's nothing that says you can't go in there, put it on a 5-minute chart. Maybe you get home and you don't have time until 7:30 at night. You only got an hour a night, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Well, obviously you're not going to be able to trade stocks, but you can still practice, right? You can still practice. You can put that in replay mode. Like, let's say back here, right? So you get home the night of the 3rd, you go back to that morning, you cut it off, and you just click forward one bar at a time. And you pretend to trade that. You think, okay, what would I do here? What's going on, right? And if you do that every day, even just 1 hour a day, after a year, you're going to have seen so many charts and so many patterns and so many moves that all of this stuff is going to become very second nature to you. And people are like, gosh, a year though, James, a year. Yeah, are you kidding me? People go to college for 4 years to get a degree that they can make 40 grand a year with. If you spend a year learning to trade, you have an unlimited earnings potential. I'm not saying you'll make unlimited money. I'm saying you have unlimited earnings potential. There's no cap. There's nothing that says you can only make $50,000 a year in this position, or this position pays $80,000 a year. You might make $10 million a year as a trader. You might make 10,000, right? Everybody's different, but you have unlimited earnings potential. And so even if it takes you 5 years to get really good at trading, isn't that 5 years really well spent? An hour a day for 5 years? The biggest problem that I see with people in general, and this isn't just trading, this is everything in life, especially nowadays in this instant gratification age. Everybody wants it now. Now. I don't want to be fat anymore. I want to be skinny tomorrow. I'm going to go have life-threatening surgery because I can't stop stuffing food in my face. By the way, I'm not being hateful. I'm overweight. I'm literally like at least 45 pounds overweight. It's hard to say because I got a really big frame, so I don't know what I should weigh. It's been so damn long since I've been in shape. But when I was in shape in 2014, went to the gym 7 days a week, had a personal trainer, I walked around at about 185. I walk around at 230 now. So I'm fat. So I'm not picking on people, but I'm the same way, right? I don't want to have to go to the gym 7 days a week. I don't want to have to go on a proper diet and proper nutrition. I just want to go get the magic fix. Now, I'm not going to because I don't want to die, and I'm not going to risk dying under the knife, having gastric bypass or something crazy like that. But, people do that, or they have liposuction, or they want to, any number of things. It's this instant gratification mindset that we all live in today. And it's really poisonous and it's really toxic. And so it's something that I just, I can't stress enough. Like, if you are trying to learn to trade, don't get in a hurry. But at the same time, it's not something that necessarily will take you 5 years. I think realistically, somebody that stays focused on it and spends an hour a day consistently studying charts and consistently learning, I think within a couple of months, you can have enough knowledge to do pretty well, right? As long as you can control your own emotions and things like that. It's really the people who can't control their emotions. No matter how much learning they do, they're just going to struggle until they can get a grip on those emotions. All right, so kind of show you an example of that. Let's go look at Nautilus real quick. So Nautilus is, a pretty big company. They make like sports apparel and golf balls and clubs and all that kind of stuff. But you had a lot of people FOMOing in over here at Nautilus. Back in 2020, people weren't all that interested in it when it was $1 or so a share. But in 2021, you had people FOMOing in. Look, literally, let's put it on a weekly chart. 3 weeks in a row, you have buyers up around $31 at the peak of euphoria, at the peak of, market madness. Like, where did they think this stock was going? Like, it would have to go all the way to $60 just to double their investment, $90 to triple their investment, so on and so forth, when it was $1 just a year before. You see how absurd that sounds? Like, why would anybody think that was realistic? But people did, and they were FOMOing in. And yet those exact same people who were feeling really good about buying at $30+ probably have no interest in buying at $1.46 now that it's crashed 95%. I'm not saying it's a good buy at $1.46. I have no idea what the future holds. I don't have a crystal ball. But what I'm saying is, like, the emotional side is, this is why people lose all their money trading. They want to buy over here and not over here. And the reality is, it would be very hard for this stock to continue going straight up at this point. And every time, just, again, having to double your money would mean a $30 move, whereas down here, doubling your money means $1.46 move. You see how much easier it is for a market to move $1 than it is for a market to move $30? Of course, you see it, and if you're not involved, you're like, well, yeah, that's common sense. Duh. Well, it's common sense, but it's not very common, right? Because people don't do it. They are not buying down here. They're buying up here. And it's crazy. And by the way, I should probably disclose, I do own this stock. I bought it today at $1.46 or $1.40, whatever it was. I don't know my exact price. I bought it today. And it's a very, very small investment. It's something that I'm perfectly fine writing to zero. It's not a trade. It's a straight up investment. We'll see where it's at in 10 years, right? Kind of thing. But I don't want to be like talking about the stock as an example and then not disclose that I own some of it. I am not telling you to buy it. I don't know that the bottom is in. If the whole market crashes, this could go lower. Just want to be transparent. But here's another one. This is a really good example, Hood or Robinhood. So Robinhood actually bought this stock, same kind of deal. I didn't buy any of it over here. It was up around $85 a share, right? Insanity. People are just buying through here, buying through here at $40, $50 a share. I bought right there, the literal bottom, right? $6.88 is where I bought. This was the lowest week, the week of June 13th. It bottomed that week at $6.81. So 7 cents from the exact bottom of that. And now I'm up almost double. Not because I'm a rocket scientist, not because I'm a genius, not because of some super voodoo trading strategy. Here was the strategy. I thought Robinhood was a promising company. I think it has, I still believe it has a future. I don't know how high or low it will go, but I feel like in the long term, it's probably going to be a valuable asset. And by the time it got over here, it was down over 90%. Well, by golly, I consider that a clearance sale. When something is down 90% from its all-time high, the only question I'm going to ask myself is, do I think this company will be here in 5 years? I don't care about the technical analysis. I know that's blasphemy in some people's opinion. I don't care about the technical analysis because it's not a trade. I didn't buy it going, okay, I'm going to sell it next week or I'm going to sell it next month. I'm trying to double my money. I'm trying to get 20%. No, I bought it as an investment. That's what I did. I bought it as an investment at $6.88. If the stock continues to fall, which I kind of hope it does, then I will buy more when it falls another 50%. So at $3.44, I'll buy more of that stock. And when it falls, if it falls from there another 50%, I'll buy more of that stock. And every 50% drop, I'll buy more until I've got 5 total purchases. I won't buy it more than 5 times. And when I do it that way, I'm never exposed to more than 1% risk. So my entire portfolio, after all 5 purchases, I will have less than 1% of my portfolio in that stock. Right now, I've got less than 0.2% of my portfolio in that stock. That's what I'm looking for. And that's what I'm saying, like this whole idea that you need to be a genius and you need to look at charts 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, like all this crazy stuff. You don't. There's so many ways to attack trading and investing in markets. And some of them are super basic and super simplistic. Like saying, do I like a company? Yes. Is it down 90%? Yes. If you look at Warren Buffett, people get this confused all the time. Warren Buffett is not a trader. So people will often compare traders to Warren Buffett. Oh, what's your return versus Warren Buffett's? Warren Buffett's return is a legendary 20+% a year over the last, 800 years, whatever it is he's been trading. But he's an investor. He is not a trader. There are all kinds of traders who make more than 20% a year, but they're not investors. And there's a huge difference. Warren Buffett's what's called a value investor. Basically what Warren Buffett does, in oversimplification, is he looks for companies that he likes, that he feels are undervalued, and he buys them. Kind of like Robinhood. I felt it was undervalued. I bought it. I like the company, right? I don't like the company. Like I don't like their core values and all that kind of stuff. I just think that they have a potential to be a big company in the future. And I do really like right now, you don't know this, right? They have a really good interest rate. So for people who are keeping cash on Robinhood, especially those people that are in the US, which I think is the only place Robinhood is available, right? That money is supposedly FDIC insured up to $250,000, and they're paying gold members 3.75% for keeping their cash there. Well, that's like 300 times the average rate of return of sitting cash in a bank. So I think that's very attractive. I've taken advantage of it myself, where I'm making returns on my extra cash, and I do think that that will attract users. So all that stuff, right? And they weren't doing that in June, but all this stuff is reasons that I still feel good about Robinhood. So just some stuff there. And also the other thing, and I don't want to get off on a big tangent because everybody's in different places in life, but the other thing is, just remember this, right? There's opportunity all around you. The world is really good, and the media especially is really good about being negative and pointing out everything that's wrong with the world. We see it every day, just news article after news article pointing out all the differences and the problems in this. Listen, problems exist, but there's also opportunity everywhere. And you don't need to be a college graduate with a PhD to make a good living in life. When we start talking about the biggest income that I ever made, it was from trading. And I'm getting better every year at it. And you will get better every year at it. It may take you 5 years. It may take you 10 years. But let's say you're 35 years old. Is it really that bad? Because once you have it, you have it. Nobody's going to take it away. Like, you have it forever. You could be 75 years old and still sitting down to trade a couple hours a day. I guess the main thing is just stick to it, right? Right now is a really trying time for people that are new because it's not easy to make money. It's not like it was where you can just blindly throw money at any asset and it goes up and you make a bunch of money. If you blindly throw money at stuff right now, you're probably going to lose money. And so a lot of people just give up, and you shouldn't, right? Stick with it. There will be more cycles. There will be a new bull market. Assets, not all assets, but some assets will go back up. Some assets will make new all-time highs. New assets will come out. One of the biggest mistakes that I made in 2021, and one of my business partners / former student, whatever, he was a student and then just ended up blowing up, did amazingly well trading, and we ended up partnering on some stuff. Like, he was telling me in 2021, he's like, I think those old alts are dead. I think the real money is going to be in these new alts. And I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Well, he was right. He was dead on. You had all like the BSC stuff, like the Bitamons and all that stuff go up like 10,000%, whereas a lot of the old alts never even reach their old all-time highs. So keep that in mind when a new market cycle starts. A lot of the alts that you're familiar with, the big names today, they may not do all that well. It may be new coins or new assets that you've never heard of that do really well. But also keep in mind, just as a fun example, even terrible altcoins like OMG, for example, which is currently sitting around $1.70 and did not break its all-time high from 2018, it still could have made you rich, right? It was 30 cents back in 2020. It fell all the way down to 31 cents on Bitrex, 37 cents on Coinbase, and ended up peaking at about 20 bucks. So you're talking about a 50x return, even on a coin that didn't break its old all-time high. So pay attention to the big name coins, pay attention to those assets that, again, fall 80 and 90%. That's where you can make life-changing money. Like OMG, from 2018 to 2020, fell 98.69%. You're telling me you couldn't throw a $100 punt or a $50 punt or a $10 punt on that? I mean, 10 bucks, you could have cashed out 500. So really crazy stuff. And I think I will go ahead and wrap up there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. More than anything, I just want to see you be successful. I want to see people that are, watching these videos and in my groups and in my Facebook group and all that stuff. I want to see you all find massive success. The world is a happier place when more people are successful. Success makes it hard to be negative in life. All right. This is James with Crypto Common Sense. Please remember, I am some guy. I'm sitting in a spare bedroom. Obviously, that means that nothing in the video is financial advice. You should always go out and do your own due diligence and seek out professional financial advice from a licensed financial advisor before making any type of investment in cryptocurrency, the stock market, precious metals, Forex, or any other tradable asset. If you haven't already, stop now, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you check that description. There will be a link down there where you can join my proprietary trading software as well as my trading education. I believe both of those will help to make you a better trader.